What if the history of humanity began much earlier than we think? What if the first great civilizations were not created by humans, but by beings that came from the stars? And what if the pyramids of Egypt are the last traces of that lost age? Our story begins around 15,000 years ago. At that time, Earth was undergoing strange changes. The climate was different, the continents looked unlike they do today, and many areas that are now underwater were once inhabited lands. One night, the people of the ancient world saw a massive object in the sky. It was larger than any known star. The object did not move like a comet. It hovered above the planet. For several days, it could be seen from different parts of the world. Then it began to descend. According to legend, this was the moment when the Archons arrived on Earth, a race of tall beings standing over 3.5 meters in height. Their bodies resembled those of humans, but they lived for hundreds of years. They understood laws of physics that modern science has yet to discover. The Archons did not come to conquer the planet. They came to fulfill a mission. According to ancient stories, a mysterious energy existed at the center of our galaxy, slowly changing the structure of the cosmos. To monitor these changes, the Archons built special observation stations on different planets. Earth became one of them. They chose the territory of modern-day Egypt as the location for their main base. It was there that the construction of the Great Pyramid began. The people living nearby witnessed incredible events. Massive stones rose into the air without ropes. Hundreds of tons of rock moved as easily as if they were made of feathers. At night, blue beams of light could be seen shooting into the sky above the construction site. The Archons used gravity control technology. That is why they needed no cranes or machines. To them, even the heaviest stone was almost weightless. After decades of work, the pyramid was completed. But humans did not know its true purpose. Inside the structure was a giant crystalline reactor. When activated, the pyramid began to vibrate. These vibrations created an energy field around the entire region. According to legend, this field allowed the Archons to open so-called stargates, passages connecting distant points in space. But the most mysterious being was not the ruler of the Archons. It was the Sphinx. Yes, the very Sphinx we know today. But back then, it was not a statue. Ancient texts spoke of a being called Sarare. He had the body of a man and the features of a gigantic lion. He stood over 3 meters tall. He was known as the Keeper of Knowledge. It is said that Sarare could see future events. He was the one who warned the Archons of a coming danger. One day, their instruments detected a signal from deep space. The signal came from another civilization. A civilization that had been searching for Earth for centuries. They called themselves the Shadow Ones. Unlike the Archons, the Shadow Ones sought to conquer worlds. Several years later, their fleet appeared near Earth. War began. The skies above the planet burned. Beams of light tore through the clouds. Humans witnessed enormous objects battling one another among the stars. Part of this war took place directly above Egypt. At the height of the conflict, the Archons realized they were losing. They made one final decision. They dismantled their technology and hid it beneath the earth. A vast underground city was built beneath the pyramids. Long tunnels stretched for dozens of kilometers. Within those tunnels were maps of other worlds, energy devices, and archives of ancient knowledge. To protect their secrets, the Archons used a strange technology. They created mechanisms designed to awaken only thousands of years later. That is why many researchers still report unexplained anomalies around the pyramids today. Strange sounds, unusual vibrations, electronic malfunctions, as if something is still operating deep beneath the ground. Before leaving Earth, the Archons said farewell to humanity. But Sarare remained behind. He agreed to guard the hidden archives until the end of his life. When his time finally came, the Archons created a massive stone monument in his honor. That monument supposedly became the Great Sphinx. Thousands of years passed. Empires rose and fell. Humanity forgot the true origin of the pyramids. Legends became stories. Stories became myths. And myths nearly vanished. Yet strange clues continue to appear. Some researchers notice unusual geometric alignments between the pyramids and the stars. Others discover ancient texts describing gods who descended from the heavens. From time to time, rumors emerge about secret archaeological discoveries that are never publicly discussed. And this leads to the ultimate question. What if there really is something beneath the pyramids? What if a hidden chamber is discovered one day? What if behind ancient sealed doors lies proof that our civilization was not the first on Earth? And the most terrifying question of all, what if the Stargate still exists? What if it has merely been dormant? And what if one day it becomes active again? Perhaps that is when the builders of the pyramids will return. And then humanity will finally learn whether the Archons were our creators, or merely the first visitors to this planet. Many thousands of years passed after the departure of the Archons. The sands gradually swallowed most of the structures of the ancient world. Mighty cities turned into ruins. The oceans changed their shores. Civilizations rose and fell one after another. But deep beneath the Great Pyramid, something continued to operate. At least, that is what the ancient legends claim. According to these stories, the main energy core of the Archons remained hidden within the earth. It was buried so deeply that even the strongest earthquakes could not damage it. There lay the so-called Hall of Chronicles, a gigantic chamber whose height exceeded that of modern skyscrapers. The walls of the hall were covered with unknown symbols. They glowed with a faint blue light even thousands of years after their creators had vanished. At the center of the chamber stood a black crystal. It contained all the knowledge of the Archons, the history of Earth, the history of other worlds, and even events that had not yet happened. The Archons believed that time was not a straight line. To them, the past, present, and future were all parts of the same stream. That is why their machines were able to predict future events. Before leaving Earth, they witnessed something terrible. An event that would occur many thousands of years later. An event connected to humanity. That is why they left a hidden message on Earth. Legend says that all of the world's great pyramids, not just those in Egypt, were parts of a single system. The pyramids of Mexico. The pyramids of China. The pyramids supposedly hidden beneath the jungles of South America. Together, they formed a vast network. A network that spanned the entire planet. For thousands of years, the system remained dormant. It slept. But around 100 years ago, strange things began to happen. Some astronomers detected a mysterious signal from deep space. The signal repeated at regular intervals. It seemed less like a natural phenomenon and more like a message. No one could decipher it. But according to the legend, it was a signal from the Archons. They were approaching the solar system. Meanwhile, ancient mechanisms beneath the pyramids began to activate. Deep underground, devices that had remained silent for tens of thousands of years came back to life. Slowly, they began to accumulate energy. No one on the surface suspected a thing. Humanity continued its ordinary life. Building cities. Creating new technologies. Exploring space. Yet all this time, the ancient system was watching them. According to the legends, the Archons left behind more than technology. They left behind their descendants. A small group of guardians meant to blend in with humanity and preserve knowledge until the proper time. For centuries, they passed their secrets on to their children. Generation after generation. Without knowing the whole truth. Only fragments. Only pieces of a much greater story. One day, one of these guardians supposedly discovered a hidden entrance beneath the Sphinx. Beyond a stone wall lay a long corridor. It descended deeper and deeper underground, until it reached enormous metal doors. On the doors was a strange symbol. The same symbol found on ancient Archon artifacts. When the guardian touched the symbol, the doors began to open. Behind them was a chamber. At the center stood a transparent sarcophagus. Inside it lay a being. It looked human, but it stood over 3 meters tall. Its body remained perfectly preserved, as if it had fallen asleep only hours before. Nearby was a device covered in an unknown language. After years of study, only a few words could be translated. The last guardian. Awakening. Return. Terrified, the guardian left the complex and never returned. Yet the legend claims that the being is still there, waiting for a specific date. waiting for the moment when the system completes its activation. Years passed, and the strange events became more frequent. Across the world, people reported mysterious lights in the sky. Astronomers discovered unusual objects at the edge of the solar system. Some signals arriving from deep space defied all explanation. All of this gave rise to a new theory. Perhaps the Archons never abandoned humanity forever. Perhaps they simply embarked on an incredibly long journey. And now they are returning. But why? The legend offers a troubling answer. The Shadow Ones were never truly defeated. After the Great War, they merely retreated. And now they too are moving toward Earth. The Archons are not returning as conquerors. They are returning as allies. To finish a war that began thousands of years ago. A war that humanity no longer remembers. And if this is true, then the pyramids are not monuments of the past. They are beacons. Ancient devices designed to send a signal when the time is right. Perhaps that moment is approaching now. Perhaps beneath layers of stone, machines thousands of centuries old are already awakening. And perhaps one day humanity will wake up and see the same light in the sky that people witnessed 15,000 years ago. The light from which this entire story began.